Good evening, fellow members. Welcome to this session on networking, entrepreneurship, soft skill, and technology. All the new generation topics, everything combined into one pool, and we have got one expert professional to talk on all these 4 subjects together. Being this COVID era wherein we have a lot of challenges in doing this regular practice, many changes are evolving out in networking area, in technology area, where we are working from home, which we never ever thought of in our lifetime that CA office can work from home. And now this pandemic has created a scenario that you don't have a choice. You have to sit in your home and support your client. Then only you will get your billing done. So such a scenario has come wherein you are compelled to adapt to new generation things. One, in technology aspect. Second, now the networking. Historically, we all thought that it's only CA firms and their fellow CA firms in another town they used to network. But you all know that our CA Institute have come up with now the new set of networking wherein you are allowed to network with fellow other series of professionals like company secretaries, cost accountants and that. So that's a new area opened up wherein we all have a good opportunity to work together. So that's again underwent a great change in this year. So today you will have a great learning on this aspect from our learned speaker. Apart from that, soft skills, as you know, that is the most essential thing for our practice to do. That's our we can increase our earning maximum by a lot of speaking only. So soft skills are the most essential part for us to establish in our profession. So today on all these key areas, instead of having different sessions on different topics of these things, SIRC has to thought of having one person handling all these things and talk on how all these things are interconnected, so to establish our practice in a very strong way. So today we have learned the speaker, CA Jawahar sir, qualified chartered accountant with more than about 36 plus years experience. He is a person who is possessing some exceptional qualifications in the terms of computer systems related audit. He is the first chartered accountant in India to hold a degree of CISA, CISM and CISSP. All these are international degrees on system audit and related professional management things. And he is also a qualified forensic auditor. He was there earlier in the managing committee of Hyderabad branch in 91 to 95, and he is a member of information technology committee of our SIRC. He is the author of the technical guide for IS audits published by our institute. Jawahar sir got certified as an executive coach by the world #1 leadership thinker Marshall Goldsmith. He was visiting faculty for ICAI also, and he was secretary of the International Fiscal Association Hyderabad. I will not stand between you and speaker today, so I take this great opportunity to welcome Jawahar sir for this fantastic session. I would, sir, our members are there to get complete idea of all these 4 areas, how these things are interconnected and how we can make use of these things in flourishing our practice. And we welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Suresh Kumar sir. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir, visible, sir. Just move to slideshow mode.
Yeah, I'll move there. I just want to ensure that, you know. Okay.
Now it's in slideshow
Okay.
mode, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much, Suresh sir, for your kind introduction. And it's my honor and privilege to be the speaker today at this seminar on networking, entrepreneurship, soft skills, and technology. These are all interrelated topics. So I thought I will take you through the steps and help the new chartered accountants especially, and also some of the senior chartered accountants, if they're interested, to hone in their skills and improve their profession. Today, I've been invited by the SIRC of ICAI to make this presentation, and it's my proud privilege to take you through. Now, what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is how a first generation professional comes into practice or business. That is entrepreneurship. And it is not so easy to be an entrepreneur for the simple reason that you require a lot of traits to be a successful entrepreneur. And today in this seminar, I'm going to tell you what are the traits that are actually required to be a great entrepreneur and to be a great professional, and how to succeed in our chartered accountancy profession as such in practice. And believe me, friends, all the things that I'm going to tell you here are equally applicable for chartered accountants in service too. This seminar is basically to create awareness of the availability of resources. There are a lot of resources that are available to us chartered accountants across. I know that each and every one of you can Google this aspect and learn it. But let me tell you, I will tell you while I'm making this presentation, I will also give you some insights on my personal experiences, and that I hope will make a lot of difference to you. You would otherwise not hear when you Google these resources. Nowadays, you realize that chartered accountants, the moment they pass, are being gobbled up by these large companies. They pay them well and they take them. There are very few, when you compare the number of chartered accountants coming in to practice, is very minuscule percent of the total number of chartered accountants who are qualifying. And this seminar today, I hope, will encourage self-employment. I will encourage more and more people to come into this profession. Yes, as I told you in the beginning, it is not so easy. You know, you might have the idea to come into the professional practice, but how do you get your clients? What are the attributes that are necessary for you to make you a great chartered accountant? This is what I'm going to tell you. To provide knowledge of plans and programs for CAs, our Institute of Chartered Accountants is running a beautiful course for the fresh chartered accountants. You know, it runs courses which help them to take interviews, you know, how to face the interviews. In fact, in Hyderabad at the Center of Learning for the Institute of Chartered Accountants, I have been training chartered freshers on how to appear for the interviews. What is the meaning of the questions that are being asked? What is the purpose behind the questions that are being asked? And what is the type of answers that are required by the companies? I teach them a lot on this. And my intention is to ensure that every chartered accountant who comes into practice is extremely successful. This seminar will provide training for these professionals to take up practice. And that is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship actually means taking risk. You know, you take a risk when you come. I also came into practice about 36 years ago. And believe you me, when I came into practice in 1984, in Hyderabad, I'm based in Hyderabad, I didn't know a single professional in Hyderabad because I did my articles outside Hyderabad. I passed exams outside Hyderabad. So I had no network of people on whom to contact. And that is how I started my profession. And today, after 36 years, in the 37th year, I am still in practice. I'm fairly successful. I wouldn't say I'm like the big four, but I am successful. So I want to share my success stories, my difficulties, the blocks that I hit, and how I came out. I will share all these things. The most important thing for every chartered accountant is marketing. We don't know how to market. Believe me, friends, sometimes when my clients ask me whether we should employ a chartered accountant or we should go for an MBA, my first question is to ask them, what do you want? You want an accountant who will look after your finance job, or you want a marketing accountant who will try to sell your company and get you funds, get you different things from the market. So it depends on what you want, and invariably they then focus on what they want. I have helped people get chartered accountants into their finance jobs, where I'm telling you, friends, in my experience, no other professional can fit in. Chartered accountants are trained. They are trained in finance. They are trained in all the allied laws, and they are trained to decipher the law for the benefit of the clients. So this is the greatest profession that we are in. And therefore, I want you to take advantage of this seminar, learn how to market. Life will become very easy for you. And suddenly you will realize over a period of a few months, you are getting and improving more and more clientele. So the only thing is you'll have to follow the steps that I am putting you. I'm here to remove doubts, give suggestions, and suggest remedies for problems if you have. And if suppose at the end of the session, we do not find time to take all the questions and to delve into your problems in details, I will share my contact numbers. You're free to call me and I will definitely help you solve them. What are the critical areas to develop entrepreneurship? Now, these are the attributes that you require. You must be very, very clear in your communication. I will first go through the critical areas, and then some of the areas which I feel are very, very critical, which are very, very important, I will delve into deeper. You should know how to manage time, because every one of us have got the same 24 hours in every day. The same number of hours. What we do with it is what we decide to do. But it is the same number of hours which we have to work in, we have to sleep, we have to devote time to our families, and also keep time for ourselves. So it is very, very important how you manage time. And if you go into the difference of management time, which I will dwell into deeper, you will understand how you can free yourself from the clutter that you are in, if you are in, that is. And if you are already doing well in managing time, God bless you. Making decisions, critical decisions is important. In today's world, chartered accountants everywhere in India and abroad are under lens. Whatever they do, people think that whatever the businessmen do, the chartered accountants are hand in glove with them. They don't understand, a common man doesn't understand that businessmen will never reveal their actual plans and intention to chartered accountants. And chartered accountants are, this is in my experience, chartered accountants are left to fend for themselves, and God forbid if they are hit badly. Like, for example, some chartered accountants who have been taken to task by NEFRA, by our institute, through the disciplinary proceedings, and it's very difficult to prove that they had taken care and have done their due diligence. So making decisions is very critical. We will delve in that. As a chartered accountant, by yourself, you can do nothing. By yourself, you can do only a minuscule part of the global, success that is waiting for you. You have to take the team together. You have to bridge. You have to build partnerships. You have to network, and that is where you will be. That is how you will be successful. So delegate your work properly so that you have time enough for the rest of the things, which in turn will help you to become a successful chartered accountant. And while you're doing it, why should your team members work for you? Why should your team members work late nights for you, especially in times, the due date of filing of the returns are concerned, when the due date for a completion of the audits are concerned? We as chartered accountants have got timelines on behalf of our clients. How do you overcome that? Unless and until you have motivated your staff, the people working under you, your partners, your stakeholders, they are not going to work and listen to you. So motivating people becomes extremely critical for a chartered accountant. And as an entrepreneur, chartered accountant in practice is after all an entrepreneur. And therefore motivating people is extremely critical. You have to present successfully. We make a lot of presentation. How do we make presentation? Where do chartered accountants make presentation? Number one, as auditors, we have to make presentation to the audit committees. We have to make presentation to the various other committees if called for. And if you are asked by a multinational company to tell what you can give to the company, your presentation has to actually showcase yourself, your abilities, your strengths, your team strengths, and your past experience. So your presentation capability is very important. And therefore, my dear friends, as a chartered accountant, this is where we are lagging when compared to the MBAs that we have. When I say MBAs, I don't mean all MBAs. I'm comparing the chartered accountants who pass out from the Institute of Chartered Accountants to the MBAs from the top-notch, institutes like the IIMs, that SIBM, XLRI, the Narsimaji Institute, you name it. I mean, we have lots and lots of top-notch institutes. I'm only comparing chartered accountants with those people. As a chartered accountant, I think in the last 35 years, there is not even a single day when I did not have to negotiate without realizing that I'm negotiating. You go and talk to the client, you negotiate. I'll give you an example. Recently, a client of mine, it's nearly a $7 billion company, and the client wanted me to issue a certificate of expenditure. And the banker was insistent that I give him the certificate of expenditure. And I told them it is not possible for me to do because there were not enough controls. And then the client said, you have to help me out. You have to help me out because otherwise the banker will stop releases of funds. So therefore, I had to talk to them. I took them on the phone calls. It was during this COVID time, and therefore I had to take them on the call. And when I talked to the banker, and I explained to him the reasons why his asking for a certificate of expenditure in these times was frustrating and it would not serve the purpose, the banker finally relented and said, yes, I understand what you're saying, sir, and I will not insist for this certificate. Immediately after the phone call was made, the client called me out and said, sir, I have been telling the same thing to the banker for the last 15 days and the person was not willing. And you came in and explained it in your professional way and she agreed. So what is this? It was negotiating. It is negotiating. How do you convince the other party? How do you convince the other party that it is in his interest that we follow a certain route? We interview people left, right, and center, don't we? Every year we have these students who are passing out, and we require students as article clerks. So we interview these people. And while we are interviewing these people, you have a lot of insight, not only in the ability of that child to work for you, it is also on the ability of the child to integrate with your companies, with the personnel already working there. So it's very important to understand and know the interviewing techniques and also to understand what to look for when you interview people. This is the best thing in life. Change is the only constant in life, as the saying goes. And believe me, friends, as I am talking to you, change is happening outside. As I'm talking to you, the technology is changing outside. As I'm talking to you, the people are trying to understand you in a different way. So that change is happening. So therefore, it's very important that we as chartered accountants understand how to manage change and keep ourselves on top so that we are always ready to embrace change. And the most important thing is, I don't need to tell you about what is stress. We are stressed always. Is it not true that when the time of filing of the return comes in, say 30th September or 31st of October come in, our clients come at the last moment, and they expect us to file your returns. They expect us to complete the audit within the first 1 or 2 days and then file the returns. Is it not true? How much stress is that? How do you overcome this? What are the steps that you need to take so that your clients understand that they should not be doing what they have been doing. We'll come to that when we look into the stress. Now, communicating clearly, clear communication. Let's get into the basics of this. What do you mean? What do you mean when you communicate clearly? The first and foremost thing is to understand the body language. Why is it so important to understand the body language? When you are trying to talk to someone, unlike in this seminar where I can't see any of you, but if you are talking to your clients or talking in a seminar, or a live seminar, how do you understand the body language? Imagine, haven't you heard, haven't you attended seminars where when a speaker is speaking, people are chatting to each other? Isn't it? Therefore, I mean, it is very important for a speaker also to know what is happening and how to understand the body language. When you're speaking to your client, is he fidgeting around? Is he looking at his phone? Is he accepting calls? Is he writing something while you're talking? What does this tell you? It tells you that he is not giving 100% attention to you. And therefore, my dear friend, this is only a small example of what can happen. And therefore, my friends, you as a professional, not only in practice, but also in service, you should be able to understand the body language. Another important trait in communication is learning to listen. As I'm talking to you, maybe there are some of you who have switched on their cameras and are not are trying to do something else. But friends, let me tell you something. Today's seminar is probably going to be the most important seminar of your life. Today, whatever I'm going to tell you is probably going to change your life. Today's listening to me will help you to build your practice to such an extent that you would never have imagined. And therefore, listening, the art of listening is very important. And when you listen to someone very carefully, even when you're talking, even when you're looking into the eyes, you learn a lot about that person. And when you learn a lot about that person, it gives you the insight into how you will be able to deal with the person, how you will be able to negotiate with the person, and how you will make the person come to your way of understanding things. Is that trait of listening to understanding, learning to listen is so important, especially for us who go and appear before commissioners and before the tribunal. Because understanding what the tribunal member is looking at, what is he doing, or what the commissioner is doing, plays a very, very vital role for each and every one of us in making our presentation and changing the presentation according to the needs. Asking question is very important. How do you ask a question? Do you ask an open-ended question? Are you ever asking an open-ended question or a closed-ended question? Okay, before I proceed, let me tell you what is an open-ended question and what is a closed-ended question. A closed-ended question is where the answer is yes or no or maybe. Whereas an open-ended question requires the speaker, requires the other person to give you a complete sentence for your question. And that is the difference. How do you learn? You should learn where to ask open-ended questions and where to ask closed-ended questions. And if you're in a group of people, there are different types of questions again. You know, you can throw an open question, overhead question, reverse question, negative question, silent question. I will come to that in a different seminar because that is a totally different subject by itself and it takes around 3 hours to look into that. Many of us chartered accountants come from rural areas. We study in our native language. You know, in the south of India, we have Telugu, we have Tamil, we have Kannada, we have Malayalam. And many of us have studied in our local languages. And we study English only at a later part of our life. But when we come to practice, when we come to write our CA exams, we are forced to do it only in English. And when we come into practice, English is the only language. And therefore, how you read is very important because as chartered accountants, believe me, friends, I used to think when I was doing my CA, when I was doing my articles, I used to think, well, let me study now. Once I pass, once I start my practice, I am going to be a free man. How wrong was I? Because I realized that once I came into practice, the amount of reading I had to do on a daily basis just to keep up with various laws. And I learned how to read speed reading, how to do speed reading. And if you are not good at speed reading, my friends, you will waste your time. And if you are good in speed reading, you will be so good that you will finish reading very fast and have enough time for other things. And therefore, reading efficiently is one of the greatest attributes of a practicing chartered accountant. Taking notes, don't hesitate to take notes. You know, wherever I go, even if I am meeting a top official, I will take a paper and a pen, a notebook, which is always with me. I will stop the person and say, sir, can I understand what you're saying? I will rephrase it. You know, I use these words and then I start taking notes so that my understanding is clear on what the officer wants. So taking notes is a great attribute for every professional. And when I say professional, my friends, I'm talking about not only chartered accountants practice, but also chartered accountants in service. Because even in service, you have to deal with so many people. If your understanding of the issue is not correct, you're not going to be able to give the solution to them. And if you're not able to give the solution to them, then you will probably not be fit for the job. And therefore, it's very important for us to take notes. Exchanging information is another trait, another attribute. And for exchanging information, we have to make contact. How do we make contact? We can make contact physically, through our eyes, verbally, in writing. By email, you never know, through your blogs if you have. So there are different ways of making contact. And if you are successful in making contacts, you have got your client. If you are successful in making contact, you will be probably meeting a professional, probable client in future, potential client. So therefore, making contact is very important for exchanging information. Passing information is important. It is not just meeting the person physically or through email or any other mode, but it is also passing information is very important. What do you do when you meet the person first? How do you meet the person? If you're talking, I'll give you an example. If you're talking to another chartered accountant and a third chartered accountant walks in, he knows you or probably has heard about you, and he says, hello, sir. What do? Do you say hi and continue talking? Or do you turn towards the person and say, hello, excuse me, and then turn towards him and then talk? How you talk, you are passing information. That is a non-verbal passing of information. It tells the other person how much you respect the person. It also tells the person with whom you are already talking how much you respect him. And therefore, it's very important how you pass information, what information you pass. And when I'm talking about passing information, I'm not talking about case laws or information like that. I'm talking about how you are passing information about yourself, how you pass information about what you feel about others. And these are the more critical attributes than handing over paper with a case law or the required information. Using phone is a great way of exchanging information, but there is one lacuna. When you are on the phone, you're usually not seeing the other person. When you are phone, especially the landline, you're not seeing the other person. If you're on your mobile, you're speaking to the person, you're not seeing it unless it is a video call and you're actually looking at it. But even then, you will be able to see the face of the person, but not the entire body. So body language will not be visible. So while using phone, what are the things you should do? What are the things you should not do? You might end up, raising the pitch of your voice, which can hurt the other person. You actually might have done it without intention, but how the other person receives it or perceives it becomes very critical. And therefore, you must learn, every one of us must learn how to use the phone. Writing letters. Nowadays, it's gone. I don't remember having written a letter for years together with hand. But I have written many letters through the computer. I write emails. Daily, I have something like 50 or 60 emails that move out of my laptop. What I write is critical. But I'll give you a small example. If you write a letter or make a presentation where the entire wording is in capital letters, it means you are shouting. The verbal, the look that any person who looks at you or your information feels that you are shouting at the person, and which is not correct. And therefore, if you see the screen, you will see that I am not, except for the heading, the rest of it is not in capitals. And that is what it is. It looks so pleasing to all of us. Now, briefing, meetings, and proposals. This is a very, very important thing for all of us. How do you brief? We brief clearly and perfectly. We meet people day in and day out. What we need to tell them is what they need to do for us, what we expect from them, how we expect them to do the work, and in which areas we expect them to use their leadership qualities. So briefing a person is very important. Briefing a person or briefing a group of people, a group of chartered accountants plays a very, very vital role for the success of your organization. And therefore, effective briefing is something that we have to learn. Communicating one-to-one in our offices. All of you, if you probably are working along with someone else, you are communicating one-to-one. There is a time when you have to teach them. There is a time when they have made a mistake, and you know that they have made a mistake. What is your reaction? You can't shout at them. You can shout at them and say, "Get out of my room." But will that work? No. What will work and make that person a better person and work for you instead is coaching and mentoring. If you're able to ask the person, if suppose the person has made a mistake, say in an Excel sheet, and instead of getting a DSCR of 1.8, the actual DSCR with respect to a certain project report is only 1.2, that would defeat the purpose because of one small calculation somewhere or some assumption somewhere. Can you shout at the person? No, and never do it. Instead, if you sit with the person and understand why the person has done the mistake, committed the mistake, whether it was oversight or whether his understanding of the whole thing was wrong, and if that be the case, you will end up becoming a coach or a mentor to the person. And that person, believe you me, will never ever make that same mistake again in his life. He will be ever indebted to you, and above all, he will try to please you more and more by giving you perfect, work. So instead of shouting, coach or mentor. We as chartered accountants share meetings every now and then. For me, chairing a meeting is literally every week. And when I chair meetings, what do? Especially for meetings, you have to look very professional. You have to be prepared for the meeting. You have to be prepared with the agenda of the entire meeting, and if possible, minute-to-minute agenda that will tell you that from so-and-so time to so-and-so time, someone will speak, and then someone, and then someone. Why should this be done? Because you respect your time and you respect others' time. And at the same time, you are giving an opportunity for the other person to come out and tell and talk to you openly. And therefore, as a chairman of the meeting, it's very important for you to ensure that the meetings are effective. There have been times when I have attended the meeting when the chairman did not know whether he was coming or going. And the meeting was a disaster. And you learn from these meetings, and you understand that you should never ever conduct such a meeting ever. And that is how I learned. And having learned it, my meetings are crisp, short, and sweet, to the point. People don't waste time, and they are back on their jobs the moment the meeting is over. This helps me not only to save my time, but also to respect and save everyone else's time. I will tell you the reason why I have put this as reaching the audience. For us, for every chartered accountant, every person whom we meet is an audience, and how we talk makes a difference. Do you know that I'll give you an example. The other day I called for an Uber, and he came, and normally I ask the person, how his business is. So he asked me where I was going. He saw it on the screen that I was going to the Institute of Chartered Accountants. He told me that he had dropped a person a couple of days before that day at that building. And I don't know why, but he remembered that person's name. And he said, sir, are you a chartered accountant too? I said, yes. And he said, sir, that gentleman was also a chartered accountant. What a fine human being he was, sir. And he told me his name. I was stunned. I said, these people who are driving people from one end to the other, if they can be affected by the good nature of a person, how well they remember. Not only that, he happened to talk to me. Similarly, he might be talking about me to someone else. If I have been grumpy, if I have shouted at the person, he would say that person was an idiot. But if he says that, sir, I met a chartered accountant the other day whom I had the pleasure of dropping, and he was such a nice person, and he was discussing, something with someone, if he's able to say something like that, and he just says he was such a fine human being, don't you think it'll make a difference? That is with the third party whom you don't even know and don't expect ever to canvass for you. But what about the people whom you meet? You go to our institute, you go outside to meetings, you meet people. And if they carry a negative impression about you at that meeting, whose loss is it? And therefore, reaching your audience is very, very important. Just remember, what we lack and what we MBAs have is this: communicating to sell. Remember that every moment you are talking to any outside, any other person, you are communicating to sell. I use this expression with my friends. As Suresh sir read in my biodata, I also coach people. So when I coach people, when I was telling them, you have to sell yourself to your wife too. You have to sell yourself to the wife too. Why? When I say sell, it is not a question of give and take. It's a question of how you come across to her as a pleasing personality, how your mood is. It's very important. If you have to go home after a hard day's work, and if you are grumpy, if you are tired, if you are angry and irritated, what is the kind of relationship she will have with you? An impossible relationship. But if you are able to communicate and tell, look, I had a very bad day today. Please, can I have a cup of tea and let me relax? Don't you think that makes a difference? And therefore, communicating not only to others, communicating to your own family members, your wife, your children, your parents, your uncles, your aunts, any relative who comes, very important. My dear friends, this is something that we should all learn from the MBAs. Negotiating to win. Negotiating is very important. As I told you already, we negotiate every moment of our life. But the crux is negotiate to win. Win for whom? We should negotiate to make it a win-win situation. You win, I win. And if both of us win, our relationship is a long-term relationship. People will come to you for business for the simple reason that they know that you are a very fair person, and therefore negotiate to win. Compiling reports, we are all aware of the reports that we do, how best you write the report, the language that you should use, how not to put a negative remark in such a way that it would hurt others, how to put it in a third person so that you are attacking the issue and not the person. Very important for this. And when we are helping our clients writing proposals, we write proposals. And how best we write the proposals, there is again a huge task on proposals. It requires an entire seminar. But then let me tell you, a proposal is a proposal as long as it communicates to the third party what you are trying to communicate to him and then helps your client. Most of the time we make proposals for our clients. Most of the time we make proposals, a financial proposal to the bank or the financial institutions on behalf of a client. And if we are able to make a proposal in such a way that the banker or the financial institution understands the crux of the issue, understand everything by looking at the first page, a summary, and then gets into the detail later and helps your client, it's your win. Every time you make a report, if it's just a white paper with a black type, does it really look good? But if you can make it as have a visual impact through, you can say, charts or pie charts or bar diagrams or whatever, if you make a visual impact, it makes things easier to understand. And why should you do this? If it makes things easier to understand for the other person, you've won the war 50% anyway, isn't it? And therefore, my dear friends, make a visual impact in your reports, and that is going to take you a long way. Communicating results. You need to create an identity. When you are communicating results, the moment they see a report, they should know it has come from, say, Jawahar, and they know that the quality of the report is going to be fantastic. They know that the quality of the result, they don't even need to recheck. That is the kind of integrity your reports must have. Use public relations to tell people, tell your story. Of course, for us, we don't have a public relations officer. But if you are going to be communicating, use your entire staff to be your public relations. And when you communicate results to them, for example, while you're doing an internal audit, your team is doing an internal audit, if your staff can talk to us, talk to your client and say, so this is an information that is required. And the client turns around and says, no, I will talk to your boss. And if your staff tells, sir, that's very nice that you can talk to my boss, sir, but please understand that if I am not able to explain to him on what we are looking at, then probably he will not appreciate my work, and at the same time he will then ask me to look into it, which will only delay the entire work. And if he can do it pleasantly with a smile, who will not cooperate? And use that as a public relation. What is that sending you? What is the signal that is sending you to your client? That here is a chartered accountant who is very serious about his integrity, whose staff is very serious about their work, and therefore we should not let them deviate. Let us help them to do their work, which in turn will be best for our company, our enterprise. So that is the public relation that you're doing. Advertising effectively. I was wondering, how can a chartered accountant advertise? Our institute has laid very strict rules. We are not allowed to advertise. How do you advertise? Well, you can. Believe me, small things. Your visiting card can be your advertisement, in the sense that your card, if it is made in a particular way and it is different for the normal cards, you give it to the people, and the next time they see the card, even from a distance, it has a recall value. Your letterhead has got a recall value. The folders that you make, you put your reports in to give to your clients or to anyone, has a recall value. If they see that they have specific colors, they say, hey, Jawahar and Associates has got that color, so it must be their report. So that is how you advertise yourself. And the next way to advertise is by talking at seminars. Tell others what you are good at. If you are good in a subject, don't hesitate. Request your branch chairman to allow you to speak to the members on that topic. And believe me, friends, nowadays the days are gone where you do a general practice. You have to specialize in something. You have to be really good at something. And when you are really good at something, go ahead and talk in various seminars organized by the institute, or organize a seminar yourself. Invite people to attend. And what will happen? For example, I can tell you, on this leadership, on soft skills, I am called to, as a speaker across India and also outside India. That is because people know me as a specialist in these areas, and therefore they call me. I have my friends who are experts in FEMA, and because of the seminars that they have made a presentation in, if any of their clients have a requirement of a FEMA expert, they call the person and say, sir, I'm sending you my client, can you please help? That is advertising. So use these advertising, use these seminars and meetings to advertise. Use your visiting card, your letterheads, your report folders to advertise for yourself effectively. When you are at work, you communicate continuously. How you look at the person, how you call the person, how you talk to the person, even when you are stressed, shows how you respect the person. And when your communication in your office is good, when your communication is clear, it only shows your respect for your team. And once your respect for your team is established, people will go any distance to help you in your success. It is always better to reiterate what you have said in different ways, just to ensure that the message that you are trying to communicate has actually got through. So as I told you earlier, one of the best ways is taking notes, reiterating what you have said, rephrasing what you have said. And these are very important things, especially when we are talking about profession, especially when we are talking about a very difficult scenario, in which case I suggest that every now and then you must reiterate and rephrase what has been discussed, so that your client is very clear with you on what you have understood and what he has said. Managing time is a very critical aspect of being an entrepreneur. My friends, managing time again is such an interesting and important part of our life. We only have, as I said, 24 hours, and therefore it is very important for you to analyze your time. Each and every one of us has to analyze our time. Nobody else can analyze our time. We have to analyze which is the best part of the day when you can take up very serious work, which is not the normal turn, which is not the good part of the day where you actually are tired, and what is the time of the day when you are again at the peak. If you are able to analyze time, that is how you work. Analyzing the use of time is important. What is it that you're using? Because when you are at the peak, you must take up the most difficult jobs that you have. When you are not at the peak, you must take a lesser difficult job at your time. So using your time is very important. It's very important that you understand how to use the time. Planning for success. My friends, all of us want success, isn't it? Therefore, it's important for you to analyze your goals. What is it that you want? And once you analyze the goals, your success is guaranteed. You have to understand what your priorities are. Say, for example, if it is in the month of April first week, you say, okay, I will take up the audit of one of the private limited companies. They are ready with their books. Is it a priority job at that time? That time, most of the chartered accountants are very busy, going to be very busy with their bank audits. That is not prioritizing. So you must understand what you have to prioritize and when you have to prioritize. Suppose you say on 30th of September, I think I'll go and see a movie, especially when your office staff is working. Is that prioritizing? Doesn't work like that. So work out your priorities at every stage. Understand your priorities, understand the priorities of your team, and you will be a successful chartered accountant. Assessing your work patterns, please make a note. This is literally what you have to do. You have to make notes on when you have been at the peak of your performance, when you have not been at the peak of your performance, when you felt that you wanted rest, whatever. Assessing your own work pattern, nobody else can do it. You will have to do it. And once you are able to do it, you are planning for success, because that is when you will utilize your peak period with the most difficult task, and it will be done in a jiffy. And for this, time planners are the best. You use your time planners, daytime, what is it? And you can actually make a graph of the through the planners and understand very easily on how you have been working on a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. My dear friends, above all, the best thing that a chartered accountant can always do is think positive. There are so many blessings in thinking positive, especially when we have times like what we are passing through, we have passed through. I know a lot of chartered accountants who have been through hell, literally, at this time. So whenever I talk to them, I cheer them up, I tell them what to look forward for, and I also show them the silver lining in the cloud of what difficult, even in the difficulties that they have been through. And without an exception, those chartered accountants call me in the next 1 or 2 days and tell me, Jawahar, talking to you that day really improved my spirit. I'm fine now. Thank you so much for your time. That makes all the difference. And that is all the satisfaction that I want. Making instant changes, to save on time. Here are a few tips for you, which will immediately help you to save time. I have seen offices, the desks of chartered accountants cluttered with a lot of paper and files. Clear them out immediately. And that will immediately clear your mind out. All the loose papers that you have, which you thought you will file later, don't wait. Now is the time. Go and file it in the respective files. It will do you good. Avoiding interruptions is very important. A lot of people have an open office. I used to have an open office. That is, whenever they wanted, my staff could walk into my room at any point of time, till the time I realized that was breaking my chain of thought. So now I have a time. I try to ensure that during that time, I let no one interfere with my work. So what I do, instead of they coming to me, I do that 1 to 1.5 hours of uninterrupted time, and then I walk past, go to all the desks of the students and my partners and see whether they require my help, they require my advice, my suggestion, or any input. That way, I help them continue to work at their desk without moving out. At the same time, I give a little bit of exercise to my feet and come back and continue my work uninterrupted. It's very important to work with others. None of us can, do without working with others. I'll come to that later. It's not so important at the moment, but then if you learn to work with others, you save a lot of time. Making phone calls. A lot of people have a habit of picking up the phone whenever it rings. But my friends, if you learn to keep your phone on silent mode, you do your work and say after every 1.5 hours or 2 hours, look at your phones, see if there are important calls, return the calls, and be done. Now, initially, you might have some friends who might say, Kya nowadays you are becoming a very big man, you're not picking up the phone. So be it. Don't worry about it. It'll be only for a few days. But eventually they'll realize that what you are doing, they will understand what you're doing. And then they will say, okay, we'll call when we want, and Jawahar will call back when he's free. And what a respect they start having for you, saying that you know your priorities. Reading and writing are very, very important. For reading, speed reading is very important, as I told you. Now, speed reading, what does it mean? You just skim through the paragraph instead of reading every word. Now, when you skim through the paragraph, you understand the same thing what you do when you're slow reading, but you save a lot of time. And I have realized that in speed reading, I save something like 80% of my time. So that's very important. And writing, I try to keep my writing to a specific time when my productivity is low, and I also need a little diversion. Well, what I mean is writing is sending emails, replying to certain letters. So I keep it during that time. So when I do that, I know that I'm going to utilize the rest of my time to the best possible way. How do you manage time of others? Communicate well with others. If you want to manage their time well, the only way you can do it is communicate to the point, ensure that they understand what you want. And to do that, you will have to reiterate, rephrase, and if necessary, ask them to reiterate and rephrase too. It will save time for all, once and for all. Otherwise, people will keep going back and forth, and it will waste a lot of time. Managing colleagues is very, very important. If people keep coming to you and disturb you, it will be a problem for you. Neither can they work, nor can you work. But if you have an understanding with all your colleagues and say, hey, morning 10 to 12, let me work on the important things. And if I need your assistance, I will call you or I will come to you. And then you can have a certain point of the day and say, let's sit together and discuss all the issues around that is happening in our office. You could do that. So it is up to you when you want to do it. You want to have a meeting the first thing in the morning, go ahead and do it. whatever is convenient for you, whatever works for you, you must do. Now, motivating people is the most important thing for each one of us. When we are working with people, we motivate them. It is what is motivation? As you can see on the screen, it's a will to act. You make people act. You make people do things that you do want them to do, but make them feel that they want to do themselves. And that is what our leadership all about. How do you motivate people? You recognize their needs. Their needs are very important, which might be different from your needs. So recognize their needs and motivation becomes a bit easy. When you understand their behavior, you also understand the nuances of what they are trying to tell you, directly or indirectly. And that can help you to motivate a person. You can, to give you an example of this, you find your assistant sitting there and whiling away time, not doing the work, but looking and staring at the screen. Now, when you go and talk to the person, make it very friendly and say, hey, is there anything wrong? Can I help you? Is there anything we can do in the office to support you? Think what is going to happen to the person. So here is a person who really wants to know from me, and he or she will open up to you. And once they open up to you, you understand their problem, and you are able to give them the comfort. Next time you give them work, will they not work? That's all motivation is all about. People make mistakes. Ensure that your office has a no blame culture. There is no point in blaming a person who has made a mistake. The mistake has been done. It cannot be taken back. And therefore, there is no point in crying over spilled milk. But if you do not handle it properly, you will lose the person. After having spent so much of time and money and energy, do you still want to lose the person? No way. It is better to help the person realize the mistake. It is better to help the person understand the mistake and ensure that he or she doesn't do it again. And you've got a great help, a hand with you. And that's about creating a no blame culture. Winning cooperation, I told you, you are the boss. You should know how to win and motivate people so that they win their cooperation. They should feel that I need to do this job because my sir is so good and my sir wants this. So what he wants, let me do 10 times better or 2 times better or 1 time better, but definitely better than what he wants. And that's important. And that's how people work for you. One thing which is very, very critical and I believe in is encouraging initiative. If some staff, whether it is the newest of the staff, he or she comes to you with a new initiative and they do something different, don't just talk to them rudely or anything, telling them that they don't know, but think about why they did it. Whether what they have done it is actually better than what you could have done. Is it possible that this can be done in that way? Is it possible that that's a better way of doing it? Don't underestimate your juniors. They come out with beautiful, beautiful ideas. In fact, let me tell you, recently, we had a case of interpretation in the accounting standards, and one of my colleagues came out with a beautiful interpretation, which was contrary to what we all thought. And when we started analyzing, we realized that his interpretation had a far, far greater value than our interpretation. And therefore, you learn a lot. When you encourage initiative, you learn a lot. Another very important place is in every office there are demotivated people, isn't it? When there are demotivated people, it becomes your challenge to motivate them. How you deal with them, how you make them feel comfortable, how you make them motivated again and start delivering. That's very important. And there is no panacea for this. There is no single method of doing it. Every person is different. Every situation is different. And combined with every person and every situation, there is no single panacea for this. And therefore, you have to deal with it, learn to deal with it. Another thing is, in most of our offices, we have annual appraisal. If you really want to appraise people, praise them. Praise them and do not demotivate them. Instead, you can say that, these are the areas for improvement. Instead of saying this is wrong, that is wrong, you have done wrong, you say areas of improvement. That makes such a nice way. The other day I was doing it, I had given my internal audit report, and there was one area, one title, it said areas for improvement, and I put it. And when I had talked with the senior manager, and I told them that, these are going to be my comments, summaries to your senior management, he was pretty wild at it. And the same points. But the same thing I had written as areas of improvement, changed the language slightly, and then presented to him. He was beaming ear to ear. He said, "What a fantastic report, sir," without realizing that I had said the same thing. So how you present it makes a difference. So even in your appraisal, you have to make it positive, and it will become a very, very effective appraisal. You have to empower your staff. Don't try to tell them what to do. Let them do what they want, but let them do what you want them to do. I hope you understand the difference. Let them do the way they want to do, but let them do what you want them to do. And that is how you empower your staff. You help them build careers. You have to tell your staff that this office is open for them once they pass their CA, if they so desire, because here is our office which will help them build their careers too. And that's a great thing to do, isn't it? You'll have a person whom you have trained, and the person will work for you. Rewarding achievement is another great way of motivating. Great way of motivating. And the best part is, how do you reward achievement? How do you know that there is an achievement? It is only when you recognize excellence. When you recognize excellence in a person, say so. It is not enough if you think that the person is excellent. It is very important for you to tell the person that the person is excellent. Motivating through change. What a wonderful statement. How can a change make a difference to a person? If a person is not really happy with the way the things are, I came across a case where a person who was in the audit department and he was not doing very well. And when I spoke to him for some time, I realized his main interest was in income tax. So we put him into the income tax. And voila, he was doing great. So motivation through change is also critical. You have to understand this. When someone does an exceptional work, don't forget to reward the person. And when you reward the person in front of the entire staff, so that it motivates everyone, and they will understand that here is an organization where exceptional performance is recognized. And ensure that day in and day out, motivation is something, it is not something like a seminar. It's not something that you come to the seminar, get motivated and go. Your staff needs motivation every day. And believe me, a chartered accountant's job is so drudgery. It's a drudgery, and it's the same thing. Take for example, a case of an audit. Your article clerks are doing the audit day in and day out. They are checking the similar vouchers every day. After some time, they will be demotivated. They will start checking date, the ledger account number, or the amount, or whatever, the sentence that has been written on the purpose of the expenditure or the receipt, whatever. Now, how do you keep motivating them? What I do is I train my students and tell them every voucher has a story to tell. If you look into the voucher properly, you'll get a story. If you look into the voucher properly, your story can help uncover a fraud. That makes them see. They start looking into the vouchers in a totally different way, and then they start enjoying the work. That's how it should be. Now let me come to minimizing stress. What is stress? Stress in individuals is defined as any interference that disturbs a person's healthy and physical well-being. It disturbs. That means a person who is normal, thinking normally, and thinking that the day is going to be normal, any abnormal scenario situation that happens will stress the person, because it makes the person's heartbeat higher, strong, faster, and you sweat at some point of time. Different things will happen. It occurs when your body or your mind is required to perform beyond the normal range of capabilities. That is stress. We have all, I think there is not a single chartered accountant in practice who has not seen stress on the 30th of September and 31st of October. That is stress, because you are required to perform beyond what you are normally used to doing. And that is also that makes you stress. A stress for an individual client can be a notice from the income tax department, because normally those notices don't come in. For you and I, these notices are common. We see them dime a dozen every day. But for a client, an income tax notice will make him frightened, and therefore it causes stress. So for your students, any small change will make them stress. So it is for you to understand how, whether anybody is stressed in your office, and if so, how to deal with it. What are the effects of stress? On the society, the pressure is on public services. A great example, COVID. The stress of COVID was so much that a lot of people, even on a normal fever, thinking they had COVID, rushed to the hospitals, filled up the beds, and when the actual COVID person came in, there were no beds, and that was stress on all public services. On the industry, because stress creates accidents and inefficiencies. Imagine you are making your people, work beyond their speed, and imagine if you're in a mechanical unit, what will happen? They will start having accidents there, and that will lead to inefficiencies. Now, take your office itself as an example. If you give a file to your assistant and tell him, I want this audit done by tomorrow, knowing fully well he can't do it, he or she is bound to make a mistake. There is bound to be inefficiencies, and therefore it is up to you and I to ensure that we don't put such sort of a pressure, so that there is no stress, and let people work in harmony and peace. No doubt, sometimes you have to tell the person that you need the file urgently, and how you can handle it. You can sit and talk to the person, review it maybe every couple of hours, and then tell the person that, look, do you need any assistance on how to go about it? Please let me know, and we'll work together. And that way, you'll be supporting the person to ensure that the work done gets faster. On individuals, stress on individuals is the most difficult and important thing, because it causes illness and behavioral problems. Friends, today in the world, the stress is so high. Especially if you take the people working in the IT industries, the stress is so high that marriages are going bonkers. There are so many cases in front of courts for divorces. Health is going, way beyond madness because of the stress. People are literally having psychiatric problems and psychological problems. Why do you think there are so many accidents on the road? If you go and analyze, stress is one of the reasons. Effect of stress on the workplace, low quality service, I spoke about it. And if your office has got a very high stress when compared to the other offices, take it for granted that people will leave. There'll be a high staff turnover. Your reputation will go to dogs if you have a very high stress level in the office. Your image of the office will take a hit, because if the reputation goes bad, your output is not correct, your reputation goes. Anybody who will talk about your office will talk not in the highest, flowery way, but they'll say, okay, fine, the person is not really good, not up to the mark, the staff is not professional, the staff doesn't deliver, the staff makes mistakes, whatever you want, So therefore, it's very important for you to ensure that your organization image is also important. Above all, you will have a lot of dissatisfied workers. And when you have dissatisfied workers, you know what's the problem then? They will go outside and talk bad about you as well as your office. What can be more damaging? You as a professional are working so hard to improve the image of your office, to improve the work culture of your office, to improve the productivity of your office, and ensure that there is a great name, and here is a dissatisfied worker. Finish in one stroke. Therefore, please ensure that you handle every worker possible, every staff, whether it is article clerk, administrative staff, or partners. You have to handle them with kids' gloves. Recognizing the symptoms. These are the symptoms of stress: constant fatigue, insomnia, digestive disorders, colitis, loss of appetite, overeating, nausea, breathlessness, dry mouth, cramps, rashes, name it, we have seen it all. Whenever you see these physical signs, immediately take corrective action. Emotional signs: general irritability, acute anxiety attacks, depression, critical, you'll find people go depressed, lack of libido, people have sex problems, and this is because of stress at the office. So ensure that your staff is happy, and it'll go a long way to to keep your office safe and happy. Loss of sense of humor. You'll find a person who was really happy and used to joke suddenly becoming very tense and losing his sense of humor means there is a stress. And if a person is not able to concentrate even on the smallest and the simplest of the routine tasks, immediately it should alert you to the problem. How to overcome stress? Learn to deal with changes. We have one of the biggest challenges today. What do you think it is? The IT portal. We have to live with it. I've seen some of my colleagues, sitting in front of the computer and, trying to upload tax returns and all. Well, they know pretty well that it can't be done. Why waste time? Relax. Nothing is going to happen. And what did the government do? They have anyway extended the time. So what you were only stressed when there was a stress on you. But if you learned how to deal with the changes, you would be happy. Listen carefully what people are saying to you. People might not be voicing their thoughts verbatim openly to you. They might talk to you indirectly. And when they talk to you indirectly, it is your duty to understand what they're saying. And therefore, my friends, if and if at all you learn the method of rephrasing what they're saying, makes a lot of difference. Once you rephrase what they're trying to say, make it a habit for you. And once you rephrase what others are saying, number one, two things will happen. Number one, they will know that you are listening to them carefully. And number two, they will understand that you are trying to understand them. Both are very good for you, for them as well as for you, and for the relationship, your relationship with each other. Exercise regularly. All of the doctors have been saying, whoever has got stress has got a high BP, and if you walk, the BP will get controlled, isn't it? So exercise regularly, walk. If you are staying a bit close to the office, walk to the office. Don't hesitate. Don't try to take a vehicle just for the sake of it. You will not only be wasting money, you'll also be wasting some time in certain cases. If you walk, it's easy to get past. Learn to talk openly about emotions and feeling with close friends and confidence. If you are in a state where the stress is too much, who are the people with whom you will talk to? Your friends. It is not your family normally, but there can be some close confidence in your family too. But normally it is your friends and confidence. Please be open and talk to them. It's very important for you to do that, because then others will understand the problem that you're facing and they will help you in terms of real need. Very important that you meet up with your staff, or if you have a manager, ask your manager to meet up with your staff on a regular basis. Simple reason: if you think that your staff is at risk, you have to take corrective action. Whose benefit is it? Your benefit ultimately. Staff will benefit, they will get saved, they will come out of their stress, but you will be the beneficiary in all this. And why not? Why not do it if you are going to benefit? Offer incentives for low absenteeism. Ensure that people don't fall absent for the sake of it. They will do it only if they feel that they are not getting benefit out of it. They are feeling stressed in the office, therefore they want to take a day off. But if you create an atmosphere in the office where stress is controlled, where people understand about each other, and help coach and mentor each other, that is the place where a person would want to be, rather than sitting in the house and get feeling more stressed. So offer incentives, saying that once you come to the office, you have certain free time to discuss about each other. There are different ways of incentives which we can discuss later. Please, for heaven's sake, don't take work home, and do not let others work in house after 7 p.m. What is the status of work from home today? Do you know that when I did my law, I made a lot of friends in my college. I actually went to college to do law. And now many of them are in practice, and they tell me that the work from home has disrupted homes. The work from home culture has disrupted homes. People don't want to sit at home now. But there is also another side of the story. There are a lot of people who don't want to come to the office. God be with them. But majority of the people want to get away. They don't want to stay at home. And that is one of the reasons why we don't want to let people work after 7 p.m. It affects them, indirectly affects you. So ensure that, make this a rule in your office. Introduce a no smoking policy in your office. I was a smoker. Then I stopped smoking about 9 years ago. I stopped smoking. But let me tell you, I remember that whenever there was stress, I used to smoke more. And then I realized how badly it was hitting me. And believe me, friends, I'm sure there might be some people in your office who smoke. I don't blame them for it. Neither do I chastise them for smoking. But then, as a chartered accountant in your office, make a rule that you will not allow smoking in your office. That will help them to reduce their stress. As I already told you, keep your desk clean, because if you have a cluttered desk, without your knowledge, it's going to stress you out. But if you have a clean desk, it will ensure that you can focus on whatever you are doing without any distraction. Improve your surroundings. Recognize stressful times. Improve your surroundings. You change your office, and then you have a green plant somewhere to change the color of your wall. If you have to change certain, put up a painting or something, that will really reduce the stress in your office. And especially when you are stressed, I'm telling you, there is only one place where people don't have stress, and that is at the burial ground. Rest, every one of us has stress, and we go through stress. So don't worry about the stress. It's only how you can overcome it that's very important. So recognize your stressful times and deal with it. Set realistic goals so that you don't have too many failures. We end up having too many goals in our lives. When we have too many goals, you end up achieving none, and that creates a subconscious stress on you. I came across a chartered accountant. I was trying to mentor the person, and he said, "Sir, I wanted to become the best in income tax in 3 years. I wasn't able to do. I wanted to do X. I wanted to do Y. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that." And he realized he couldn't do anything. And then he came, "Sir, I think I'm a loser." Then I had to tell him, "No, the person is not a loser. It is only because the person chose to set unrealistic goals that he could not achieve anything." Today is one of the successful chartered accountants here in Hyderabad. Always during stress, the best thing to do is communicate. Tell people about what you feel. Tell people why you feel. Listen to them openly. Give them a chance to talk to you. And I'm telling you, communication will reduce your stress to an extremely large extent. Handle anger. Think positively. We talked about this. Take out time to relax. Take out time. Decide on the time of the year and the month that you're going to relax. Take it off. At no cost should you deprive yourself of a good holiday. So make it a point, take your family, enjoy yourself. Take out time to help others. Helping others, is a great stress buster. I actually do a lot of social service, so I know how it works. Personal experience tells me it's a great stress buster. Make time for your family. They need you as much as you need them. And therefore, take time out for them. Relax, as I already told you. You take up hobbies, great hobbies. You can take a hobby of learning a new language, reading some new books, learning yoga, do anything that you want, maybe painting, but take up some hobby to, change your mood, change your mind to something that you love doing. Improve your diet and reduce your bad habits, if any. And that will be a great, great way of busting stress. Now let's go to networking. Networking is what our institute has also allowed. Today, networking can be done with different professionals. But I'm not going to talk about that, because that you can go to the institute's website and learn. But here is something about a different networking that I want to talk to you about. Networking with business owners, meeting business owners, potential suppliers, and other professionals to help you grow your business is what networking is all about. Why do you think? I know a lot of chartered accountants who say, "Arey no, yaar, if I go to that seminar, it's a waste of time. I spend about 8 hours. I might learn something in half an hour, but the rest of it is a waste." No, you're wrong. Meeting your co-professionals, you will meet potential suppliers, and co-professionals can help you grow your business. Don't ever lose the opportunity of attending seminars and meetings, because that is where you improve your business. You give a pool of experts ranging from competitors, clients, and allows you to offer something to them. When you meet such people, you give to the pool of experts something that you know, and you offer to give it to them, hopefully in exchange of their service. So that when you are talking about giving to them, it means you are going to benefit out of it. You're also going to benefit out of their service. But the more important thing is you are giving a service. And once you give a service, that is where billing happens. So remember, networking gives you an opportunity. It gives you advice or contact. You will get an advice. Without your knowledge, you might get advice. I keep talking to senior chartered accountants. When I have some cases, when I talk to them, I get ideas. I get solutions for my clients. So why not? Why don't I network more and get take advantage of the collective wisdom of our colleagues? Network assists you in identifying opportunities for partnerships, joint ventures, new areas expansion for your business. Good old days, we had a seminar which I attended, and the first gentleman who was speaking on FEMA. And I realized that he was the only person in Hyderabad who knew about FEMA. That was 20 years ago. Today, of course, a lot of people are getting into it. But then, had I wanted to be an expert in FEMA, I could have shifted gears and joined in. I would have been one of the top guys in FEMA. Similarly, you can identify some area that you want to grow, that you want to improve on, you want to become a professional in. That will help you expand your business. What are the types of networking? So let me tell you. I told you about seminars, then networking groups. We have these small groups of chartered accountant meetings. We are meeting, on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, doesn't matter. You have these networking groups, you network there. Tell them what you're doing, what your specialization is. Keep talking about yourself, because if you don't talk about yourself, nobody else will. And therefore, it's very important that you talk at these network groups. Professional associations. We have tax bar associations. We have chartered accountants associations. We have different associations. The FAPSI. We have the Federation of the Chambers of Commerce. Similar associations we have. You must become members of that. You must go and talk to the people there, and that is how you will make people know what you have to offer. So this is where you have to network. Social and service organization. I told you I'm a chartered accountant, and I'm also a member of Rotary International. I served as the district governor for Rotary International. I'm also on the audit committee of the Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. I do stewardship for more than $2 billion, and my appointment is for 6 years. It gives me opportunity to travel abroad. It gives me an opportunity to network with people abroad, network with people in India, because whenever I go, they know a senior member of the Rotary is here, and gives me an opportunity to network. These are the meetings that I use to tell them what I am good at and how I can help them if they want me to. And that is where I keep getting invited, as I told you already, across India and across the world. I keep going there. You can join a Rotary Club. It helps you network. And apart from the clubs here, I mean, you can join the Gymkhana. You can join the Madras Gymkhana or the Bangalore Club, or you name it, a good club, social club. You go there in the evening, relax, have a drink, talk to people, and let them know what you are doing. What is your specialization? Chances are that you will be referred clients. So even when you are relaxing, you're still working. Take advantage of that. How do you network? Without giving, you cannot get it. So if you say, for example, if you have excelled in, say, GST, how do you let other people know that you are great in GST? Go as a speaker, talk, give your time for it, give it free. You don't need to charge, because money will come flowing later. So give it and then get it. Take advantage of all the resources that you have. If you have any groups that are meeting up to learn, talk about it. Go as a speaker, make some presentations. Go ahead. Build a good image. Remember, whenever you are networking, never let your hair down. Always let people know that you are a person of integrity and carry that image throughout. How do you do that? Be a good listener. If you learn to listen, 75% of everything that I have told you will be achieved. Learn to listen. Don't just hear. There is a difference between hearing and listening. And if you are going to be a good listener, you can listen by not uttering a single word, even for half an hour. But the other person should realize that you are giving them 100% attention. And that is the most critical thing in active listening. And how do you actively listen without talking? You nod a few times. Your nod can be with your eyes. Yes. There are different ways of doing it. And if you are seriously listening, sometimes your head will turn to show that you are actually seriously giving a thought to every word that the person is telling. So be an active listener, good listener, and you would have achieved a lot. Most important thing is you can do all these things. You can do all these things because Jawahar has said it. You can do it for tomorrow, but remember, you will not continue it. The simple reason is you have not got into the mindset of networking. And if you have not got into the mindset of networking, you cannot achieve anything. So get into the mindset of networking. Everything else you can make flow. Remember this. Be prepared with an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is talk about yourself or your firm. You have only 30 seconds to impress the person. Why the elevator? Because normally it takes just 30 seconds for a person to get into the lift and get out. And if you meet someone there who you think is important, you can talk to them 30 seconds, talk to them in such a way that they will be curious about you. And the moment you have tickled the curiosity, they will get in touch with you once you exchange your cards. So be prepared with an elevator pitch. Put yourself out there in seminars and conferences, as I already mentioned. Be there in the front, talk, tell, pitch your sale, always. Organize seminar. If suppose there are no chances of seminars, you organize the seminar yourself. Sell your seminars, and then people will come and make a beeline for you. Your business cards must talk about you, and therefore keep your business cards ready always. You must have your business cards always. Your website should look very professional. Don't make it gaudy. If you want it to be professional, it should not be very gaudy, but at the same time, it should not be bland. So talk to a professional about it and see that your website looks very, very professional. Go through the websites of other chartered accountants to see what you like best, what you don't like. Do what you like best. Don't do what you don't like best. And on your website or otherwise too, share useful information. How about writing a small blog and putting it on the website, or making a newsletter and sending it to people just like that? Your newsletter initially for the first 3 to 6 months might not yield results. Don't worry, it's an investment. But later, people will come to know what you have to offer, and that will bring you clientele. Email addresses will help you stay connected. Always make it a point to collect the email ID of the person you're meeting. Exchange business cards, ensure that you have the email ID correct. The moment you come back, take time to feed it into your database so that you can communicate with them. Every email is a potential client. Now let's talk about soft skills. Wow, it's already 1.5 hours. So let's talk about soft skills. Soft skills are attributes needed by persons to be successful in life. We all know that. We all have friends. We have friends who have been extremely successful, and we have a friend who studied in the same school as the other fellow who has not been successful. What is it that the first one had? What is it that the others don't have? What is it that you have? What is it that the others don't have? And that is the reason you are successful. And therefore, let me talk to you about what these soft skills are. Communication, teamwork, problem solving, work ethic, time management, critical thinking, decision making, organizational skills, stress management, adaptability. These are the soft skills that, any successful person, without their knowledge or I wouldn't say knowledge, without their active knowledge, subconsciously, they do all these things and therefore they are successful. You think about someone who's very successful, someone with whom you have interacted, you will find that they have majority of these attributes. Conflict management is another soft skill that is today the requirement for every person. Having a positive attitude is amazing. Leadership, working under pressure. Okay, so on positive attitude, let me tell you, I'll tell you a small story on positive attitude. There was a husband and wife with 2 kids, 2 boys. They had the age difference was just about 1 year of each other. Now the elder one was always cribbing and the younger one was always positive. So a friend of theirs came home and the parents told kid, this is what is happening. The elder one is always negative and the younger one is always positive. So man said, okay, let me see. So he brought an aeroplane for the elder one, a toy aeroplane. The moment the fellow saw the toy aeroplane, he started shouting, oh, it's such a small one. It doesn't work. It doesn't fly. It doesn't have moving parts and all that. And for the younger boy, he brought horse dung. You understand? Horse's dung. It was beautifully packaged. The moment the boy opened it, he said, wow, I've got horse dung. So this man asked him, what's so great about this horse dung? He said, yes, sir. The horse dung is here. I'm sure the horse is going to follow. That is positive thinking. Always be positive in every situation. The world will change for you. Listening, we spoke about. Negotiation, we spoke about. Non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is a very important part of our life. And it starts from, say you are attending a seminar, you are sitting on the table and waiting for something, you have read it, you lift your head up. You see someone makes an eye contact. That's non-verbal communication. Now, you have a choice. You can smile. You can again choose to put your head down. What are you communicating? If you smile, you're sending a positive signal. If you put your head down immediately, what are you trying to say? You don't want to talk to the person. Negative signal. This is a very small part of the non-verbal communication, but just to give an example of how important it is, your eyes communicate so well, your mouth communicates so well. When you smile, your eyes communicate, your mouth goes wide, it communicates. And the person looking at you is not a fool. They will understand exactly what you're trying to do. When you're talking, if your hands are open, it shows that you're an open person. you're open, you're honest, your integrity. So non-verbal communication, even while you're talking, your body language becomes very important. Your body keeps speaking to people even when you are not. There is every chance that you might be telling a lie and you think you are telling the other person is understanding the truth. But 99% of the chance, my friends, your body will be telling the truth. They will know immediately that you're lying. So please understand that non-verbal communication is so much part of our culture, our body, is that it's unbelievable. Your persuasion skills. How do you persuade people? How do you communicate? How do you tell them that you're without pushing them? Slowly. How do you do that? Have you seen your friends? You're talking and then dinner is served. Have you seen one of your friends calmly, casually putting a hand and then gentle push? It is not a push, but a gentle, saying that let's go. That's persuasion without saying anything. And then he will say, okay, we will talk while going that side. And then you go. That's persuasion. That is non-verbal. But then we persuade people to do so many things for us. And skill is very important. Your presentation skills I have spoken to you about. Public speaking ability is important because that is how you will market yourself. Just like others are reading your body, you also have to learn to read others' body language. And that's the best part. And that is when you win the battles. You learn how people are bluffing you, you win the battle. So learn this, learn to read the body language, and it'll be a really, really important communication that you do. Storytelling is so important when you're meeting and talking to friends or talking even in a seminar, conference, a group of people. Have you noticed there are some people to whom people flock? They want to listen. And for others, nobody is interested. Well, storytelling is the key. By storytelling, I don't mean telling stories. What I mean is the art of narration. How you narrate things, how you might be telling the same thing, same episode to different people. But how it is received when you tell it as a story is what matters. Verbal communication, exactly, you talk and you communicate. But remember, verbal communication is so important because you should not use, try to avoid negative language. Try not to be negative. Put things positively in the right perspective and people will understand. But if you use the negative language, if you try to be negative, people will perceive you as a negative person and it might not be to your advantage. Writing skills are very, very critical the same way. Let's talk about teamwork. What is teamwork? Accepting feedback. As a team member, you should learn to accept a free feedback and don't worry whether it is negative or positive. If it is negative, correct yourself. If it is positive, improve yourself. Collaborate. Collaboration is critical. As I told you, we cannot be successful individually. We have to work as a team. We have to collaborate. Customer service. We give service, but are you giving customer service? What do you mean by customer service? It is not only providing service, it is follow-up action which is important, and that is customer service. How you follow up with your people is important for your team and for you. How your team follows up with your clients, very important. Make it very clear that it has to be positive. Learn to deal with difficult situations. There might be situations where your entire team has worked very, very hard, but you haven't got the result. How do you deal with it? Everybody is disgusted. Everybody is rejected. But you as a leader, if you are also rejected, what happens to the entire team? You must be able to say, let's do it. I remember a situation where there was a cricket match going on between, I think, Australia and West Indies. I don't remember the team names, but the Australians had hit more than 400 runs. The captain of the other side came in and he just said one thing. I think this pitch is capable of giving us 50 more runs. That changed the entire mood of the team there in the green room. They went back and won the match. And that's how simple words from the leader makes a difference. Dealing with politics is very important. If there are more than two people, there is going to be politics. Learn to deal with politics, laugh it out, smile it out, and you'll be fine. Disability awareness is now one of the cruxes, because in India earlier we never used to bother about disabilities. We never had ramps where people who could not walk could go up, the wheelchairs could not go up. But now you see the awareness is so much that it is going. So in your office, if you have any persons with disabilities, learn to appreciate them, learn to appreciate their disability, and make them part of your winning team. Diversity awareness is also important. In every office we have ladies, we have LGBTs, we have other people. Learn to be aware of the diversity and learn to take that as a what you call as your strong point. All of us have emotional intelligence. We learn how to do it. People with higher emotional intelligence are perceived as greater leaders. So improve your EQs. Self-awareness, you should know what you are, you should know where you stand, and that's going to make all the difference. If you don't know where you are, how the hell can you improve yourself, isn't it? And therefore, first of all, be self-aware. And then you have to learn your selling skills. I have talked about selling skills in various points. Learn them, improvise them, become a master, and you will be the master chartered accountant in the world. Team building is a critical aspect. Once you have a great team, you will build. Now, what is work ethic? I am amazed at the work ethic of a lot of people, including my daughter. She's an investment banker working in London, and the work ethic she has is phenomenal. From the time she starts till the time she closes, she will not deviate her attention from the work. For us, I sit in the office. If I have a phone call from a friend of mine, and after 2 hours, when I go back to the see a phone call, missed call from a friend, I'll call back, but not her. She will say, for my friends, I've got a separate time in the evening, but during the day, I will go give everything I have to my company. If that is the kind of work ethic that you have, and you are able to inculcate it to your staff, imagine the change it can bring to you. Business ethics, in our case, professional ethics. If each of us had followed our professional ethic, do you think the status of our profession would have been what it is today? We have to fight today. We are trying to cope up with so much of stress because some of our seniors did not have the professional ethics, did not follow the professional ethics, and today we are paying for it. But no problem, we will do it. At least now onwards, let us follow our professional ethics and ensure that in future, nobody will raise a finger at us and say that these guys did not have the professional ethics, therefore we are suffering. Please make it a point. At no point of time should any one of us go beyond our professional ethics. In the sense, don't do anything that is ethically and morally not correct. You must have competitiveness. Learn to be competitive. Learn to do things better. Better yourself. You should be your main competitor, not others. If you are trying to compete with others, you may end up being jealous. But if you are competing with yourself, there is nothing but success. So be competitive to yourself. Dedicate yourself to the work. Dedicate yourself to learning. And believe me, friends, every chartered accountant who has been successful, whether in the industry or whether in practice, is the person who has dedicated himself or herself. You should be dependable in the sense your client must pick up a phone and talk to you in case of a problem. He should not try to think, oh, will my chartered accountant be able to give a solution to me? It is irrelevant whether you have the capability to serve the person at that particular point of time or no. The most important time should be, you should be the first contact of recall for them. If you are able to make your relationship to such an extent, you will become dependable and therefore you will be a great success. You should learn to follow directions given to you, because when you work in a team, people must depend on you. People must realize that here is a person who will do exactly as the person is told, in the manner the person is told, and for the goal for which the person is working for. And that is following direction. They should also know that you can work independently. If they have that confidence, that is the day you can, go for a party yourself. You should be adept at meeting deadlines. That means you should learn how to plan your time, plan your work in such a way that without waiting for the last moment, you plan everything in such a way that your deadlines are met and you are also not unnecessarily stressed. You should be a self-motivated person. Don't wait for someone to come and say, hey, you can do it. If you are self-motivated, you will go forward and tell your team what all they can do. Multitasking is very difficult. I can't multitask, frankly speaking, but I have seen people do multitasking, 3 or 4 things at a time. I'm trying to learn, and this is one of the areas that I'm trying to learn and to get myself better. So along with many others, this is one thing that is important for each one of us. Perseverance, persistence, punctuality, and reliability are one of the greatest attributes for a great work ethic. Resilience is what? If you are not successful, you stand up again and run. If you fall down, if you have had debacle in your work, don't worry. Get up, start working again. You will be a success. So you should be resilient to different situations. You should be self-supervising. Go back and forward and ensure that your work is done properly. Don't focus on anything else but onto your task. Working under pressure, time management we have spoken about. Critical thinking, how you think critically is also very important, because that will put you out of many different situations. I love the story that I'm going to share with you. There was this beautiful girl to a very poor father, and then who had borrowed money from the money lender, and that money lender had an eye on this girl. So this man, the money lender, goes to the father and says, you give my money back or give me your daughter in marriage. Now this girl was intelligent and knew how to get out of situations. So she said, what should I do? So they were on the riverbed, near the riverbed, and there were black and white stones. So this man said, I will pick up two stones. If your daughter picks up one stone and turns out to be white, then I will let her be. But if she picks up a black stone, then she will have to marry me. Now she knew pretty well that this fellow is going to take out only black stones, so that she will have to force to marry. So what did she do? As if trying to take out a stone, she let one stone fall. So what did it mean? She said, oh, I'm sorry, because you have a black stone in your hand, it is the white stone that has fallen. So I chose the white stone. So it is critical thinking that is very important. Just think about how the girl did, and you can keep yourself in such situations. Think on your feet and you will get great ideas. Decision making we have already done. Organization matters, yes. Stress management we have. Adaptability means adapting to change. We spoke about it, but let me tell you, every person who doesn't adapt themselves to change are the people who are stressed, and they are the people under pressure, and therefore they are probably likely to fall ill and are going to be affected. So ensure that you learn to adapt yourself. Your ability of conflict management, not only with yourself, not only in your thoughts, but also managing conflict in your offices. Once you are able to manage conflict in your office, there will be peace and quiet, and everybody will be working great. What do you mean when I say have a positive attitude? Be very confident of what you are. Know what you can do, know what you can't do. If somebody asks you to do something that you can't do, tell them on their face that you can't do it. Don't waste your time and their time, but don't ever try to do something that you don't know how to do. Cooperate with people. Be a cooperative person. Don't try to put a hindrance to anyone, but rather come out as a person who is always cooperative. Be courteous. Start it from home. When your Kambali comes, your maid servant comes, say thank you. Start from her. Normally, we will not hesitate. We will not even say thank you to our own family members. Forget about the Kambalis and the maids. Start from right now. If you have someone with whom who has helped you, even the remotely, please thank them immediately and start by thanking. Thank you is a great, great term. Thank you can actually build bridges. Thank you. For example, a person says, you know, you have not done your work well. So thank you so much for giving me the feedback. You know what will happen to the other person? He said, I'm telling this man that he has not done a job and he has said thank you. Therefore, I should not say anything more negative. So remember, thank you is a great term to get across in different situations. So use the courtesy. Always show energy. Don't come in. How will it be? An example. How will it be if I come here and I'm speaking to, and I say, I am so happy to be here with you. I will talk to you about positive attitude. How will it be? I mean, if I don't believe in what I am telling you, how the hell are you going to listen to me and then put it in practice? So until I have the energy to talk to you and I feel positive about myself, how will I be able to talk to you? So always be positive, always be with energy. Show your enthusiasm. You know, enthusiasm is something that can be caught. You know, you must have heard about people saying that, you know, if somebody yawns, it is contagious. Other people who see you also yawn. In the same way, enthusiasm is also contagious. If you are enthusiastic, any room that you enter, people will be enthusiastic along with you. Be friendly. Come whoever it may be. Be friendly. And believe me, as they say, honesty is the best policy. Be honest. And if you think in a situation that you can't be honest, stay quiet. But if staying quiet is going to put you in trouble, better be honest. Be humorous. Make light of even the most difficult times. If somebody is very critical of you and you know the person is not right, just laugh it off and smile. And you know, have in a humorous way, tell the person that you know he's always like this, and you can also tell the person that even in the most positive times, you know, he can always make it negative or something like that. But don't lose your humor. In life, patience is the most important thing. I don't know how many of you are married, but let me tell you, every married person is patient, whether it is a woman or a man. Because if they are not patient with each other, their marriage won't survive. And patience is something that we learn. And if we are patient at home, we'll automatically be patient in the office. Maintain respectability. How you show and project yourself to be is how people will perceive you to be. If you don't show yourself as a respectable person, people will not perceive you to be a respectable person, and they will not show respect towards you. Respectfulness. Be respectful to others. Just like you expect people to be respectable to you, you should be respectful to others. There is no harm in being respectful. And therefore, and this is something very, very important, in the long run, this is what will help you succeed. Now, on leadership, I'm just trying to see how much time I have. Another 6 minutes. Okay. On leadership, conflict management is one of the critical attributes of leadership, decision making, giving clear feedback. I had spoken to you about accepting feedback. As a leader, you are responsible to give feedback. And when you are giving a feedback, be positive about it. If there is an area of correction, as I told you, you can tell them there is an area of improvement. Be positive in your approach and just see in the next 48 hours how things will change for you. Be very, very positive in giving a feedback. As you go anywhere, you keep inspiring people. If you inspire people, people will be inspired by you. If you cannot inspire people, there is no way people will be inspired by you. And if people are not inspired by you, they will not be followers. And if there are no followers, you will not be able to create awareness of yourself in the society. There are difficult times and different times. And it is only a leader who can take difficult conversations. For example, you have done your appraisal and you want to see that there is a couple of people who should leave your office. They have no place in your office. Very difficult conversation. They have been working with you for the last 15 years, and today is the time that you have to tell them to leave. A very difficult conversation. Your leadership quality will come up. You have to tell them that, you know, why they are leaving, what you can do to help them, and what they can do for themselves to better themselves. You know, the conversation can be made in such a way, the flow, that they will not feel that they are being thrown out, but rather they should be made to feel that you are giving them an opportunity to improve themselves. And that is what a leader always does. Meeting management, I told you, keep it on track, plan your agenda, and everything will fine. Successful coaching, I already spoke about it. Mentoring and coaching everyone around you in your office, at home, is one of the main traits of a leader. Supervision, of course. Talent management, you have talent in your office. How you manage them is most important. If a person is talented in a certain thing, you as a leader must know that the talent is there with such a person, and you should be able to pull that person and utilize his talent to the best of the advantage of your company. Now coming to technology, technology is a boon, technology is a bane. The boon of technology is it can improve productivity. The bane of technology is it can screw up your entire business. So learn to tackle the boon and the bane. I will tell you how. Let us now most of us use audit software. In fact, my firm, we have decided to go for an audit software very soon. We have called for, you know, presentations we'll go through, because we realize that without the audit software, we will not be able to maintain the same standard of audit, because we have realized that the audit quality, you know, dips and rises depending upon the ability of the person there. But if we have to maintain the same quality of the audit for even the youngest of the audit assistants to the senior most, then audit software is the answer. And therefore, we are looking at audit software. The bane of audit software is it doesn't have the mind. Your intelligence is more important. The intelligence of the person is important. You can standardize the quality only to some extent, but beyond that, it is a human brain that needs to work. So that is the bane of the audit software. Same way, the office management software. Office management software, for people like us, for our firms, we cannot have, you know, artificial intelligence, because those are very, very expensive softwares. So it's a normal office management software that we have that can track our work, help people with their attendance, and so on and so forth. But even in that, the bane is, depending upon the person who is inputting the data and how the data is input, it can become a bane. So be sure of what you want in your audit software. It can add value to you, or it can screw your work up. So be very careful about the software. Then software for meetings. What are the software? Now we are on GoToMeetings. It's so well done. And especially, I must at this stage thank Selva Kumar for, you know, helping me out, hand-holding, and helping me to make this presentation. So GoToMeetings is one. Zoom meetings is something that we have been doing. WebEx is another. So use your software for the meetings without moving out of your office. Nowadays, the traffic is so terrible that people don't want to waste time. You cannot avoid some meetings, I know that. But if you can avoid the meetings, use these softwares and be done. Use Google Workspace. One of the best things that happened to me. A couple of months ago, my daughter was here from London, and I was struggling with my meetings. She said, "Dad, why don't you use Google Meetings?" And now I'm using Google Meetings. I'm so happy with it. It has reduced my stress on to such a large extent you won't believe. But Google Workspace has so many different things. I'll quickly tell you. Gmail is one of them. Google Meets, Google Chats. You can talk to a group of people in that. Google Calendar can help you in the meetings and all that. Help you help others also look into your calendar so that they can plan. Google Drive can help you access your data anywhere and anywhere. Google Docs and Google Sheets can help you share your work with others so that, you know, simultaneously people can work instead of waiting for the sheets to move back and forth. Google Sites will also help you. Oh my God, all this is so difficult, isn't it? No, it's not. It looks so this because it's such a vast subject, and I had to talk for 2 hours to go through these things. And that too I did. There were a lot of topics by itself on which I have detailed seminars. So I actually didn't do a detailed one here. But believe you me, all these things are attributes which is to your advantage. You and I can help each other make very successful. This is not at all difficult, looks difficult. What's the way forward? The first and foremost thing is assess yourself. Where do you stand today? Where do you want to be? Understand your strengths and weaknesses. Improve your strength, improve on your strengths, and start working on your weaknesses. Both are advantages to you. Please, for heaven's sake, don't try to do everything together. Take one attribute at a time. Give yourself a space of 2-3 years, and after 3 years, you will be treated as God. Don't try to become God tomorrow itself. Try to do one thing at a time. And believe me, you'll be highly successful. This is what I meant. Give yourself time. Tomorrow is not the day. But then when you give yourself time, you will be successful. If you wish to be very successful, you not only have to choose to specialize in new areas, you also need to improve your entrepreneur skills, networking skills, soft skills, and use technology to the hilt. You'll need to change with times. Thank you for your attention. It gives me great privilege and honor to have been here and to have been a part of this wonderful seminar. I would now like to take any questions if you have any.
Sir, actually there was not much questions actually. Apart
Oh,
from the
wonderful.
compliment messages. So they have understood your deliberation quite very well, it seems. So, sir, Suresh sir, what you saw?
Sir, Jawahar sir, it was a great learning for all of us. I mean, actually, your presentation itself is a Bible. Each of the slides we have to work around for weeks together for respect for each of the minute aspects what you have covered up. I think you share the presentation with us, sir. We will circulate it with all the members and send so that we will use it with, as you said, we will work upon one by one aspect and we will try to improve that. So this great opportunity to hear from you on all these 4 topics at one go, and its interconnectivity in our establishing our practice. On behalf of this SIRC and the various participants who had opportunity to hear your words today, I wholeheartedly thank you for your time spent on this session today. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suresh Garu. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am ever grateful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will log off now. Thank you so much.